You have money, you can buy anything.
It's another day. The rich take money from the poor, dress them up in pink, make them all race for the cure. Drug companies have billions and want more. Got you running out to buy pink stuff from the store. Use the stories to play the emotional game, make you feel shame, all the heartache and pain. It's a scam. They use cancer patients' name, take the money as a donation to make game. The cure already exists, no myth, think about it. You and I will go without it. You can't believe what the news may say, but I doubt it. Got you blinded, your thought process is all clouded. Business as usual, money and wealth. They your companies, they don't care about your health. Need you sick to make more dough for themselves, raking in the cash every time a new drug sells. We got uppers, downers, antidepressants, drugs for seniors, and all kind of medicine. Psychotic drugs to suppress aggression. Even now drugs to relieve your stressing. Yes, we drug kids, I forgot to mention. In drug-free zones for hypertension or ADHD, whatever you call it. Legal drug kingpins, we always call it. We got the FDA and the CDC. WHO, all talk disease. Yeah. Hand in hand with big drug companies, drugging up the whole world with these. This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. Legalized, only different from the common street thugs. FDA approved, safe and secure. There's no bug side effects swept under the rug. Politicians in cahoots with the drug dealers. They getting paid to pass laws and cover up mistakes they made. They don't care if you end up hurt or in the grave. The results of the drugs they gave. Big money in the health system. They don't want to cure disease. Make medicine just to hold off the sneeze. They can cure the common cold if they want naturally, but they won't, cause it's all about greed and deed. We got uppers, downers, antidepressants, drugs for seniors, and all kind of medicine. Psychotic drugs to suppress aggression. Even now drugs to relieve your stressing. Yes, we drug kids, I forgot to mention. In drug-free zones for hypertension or ADHD, whatever you call it. Legal drug kingpins, we always call it. We got the FDA and the CDC. WHO, all talk disease. Hand in hand with big drug companies, drugging up the whole world with these. The big pharmaceutical companies got us hooked since babies, with all their vaccines and flu shots, whooping cough vaccinations, steady flow of money from the zombie patients. We get drugs, fluoride throughout our water, every day coming up with some new disorder. In order to prescribe a drug, a fake fix that holds back the things that makes our brain stick. They get rich, they don't prevent from getting sick. Drug sales is how they keep their pockets thick. Big pharma and the alphabet, drug kingpins, only ones in the end that wins. It's a sin. We got uppers, downers, antidepressants, drugs for seniors, and all kind of medicine. Psychotic drugs to suppress aggression. Even now drugs to relieve your stressing. Yes, we drug kids, I forgot to mention. In drug-free zones for hypertension or ADHD, whatever you call it. Legal drug kingpins, we always call it. We got the FDA and the CDC. WHO, all talk disease. Hand in hand with big drug companies, drugging up the whole world with these.
So you may be walking around thinking you're free and you have rights, but the bottom line is that you are owned, you're a chattel, you're a slave, and these people own you, and that's why they can do things to you against your will, because you comply.
It feels like World War III is going on inside me. This love-hate thing is really tearing me up, see? I can't take it. I feel like I'm gonna break, but I know deep down that's a big mistake. Life ain't a box of chocolates, it sure ain't cake. Hate looking at you sleep when I'm wide awake. You say you love me, but I feel like it's fake. Should've listened to my mom back then, she said, wait, no respect for the man in the house, I'm gonna take it. Demon on the side of my neck, I can't shake it. All filled up with rage and real hatred. Tired of seeing you walk around stuck in the matrix. Call out your name sometimes, you don't know headphones, and your ears all trapped in Facebook. Getting played in a game like pawns and ropes. You better wake up soon before your whole world shook.
Corrupt system, politicians lying. False promises, government spying. Loyalists are always conspiring. World slavery soon, no denying. News source suppressed as information. information. Secret societies, presidents, nations. Mind control the world
My mind
plantation.
wanders off to bad thoughts. I know I'm a sinner. Get stuck deep. The pain hits like a wood splinter. Ice cold heart. I feel like a midwinter. Pray to God. He never lets the demons enter. Try to play nice and live right. It's in God's hands. Thought I was walking. It's his footprints in the sand. Gonna change my life and do what God commands. Hope for the whole world cause it's in God's plan. Time to wake up to real truth and open your eyes to the fact that the life that we live is a lie. We've been trained since birth to never question why. To manipulate is either obey or die. Suppress information, dumb down education. Dependent, human livestock make up the nation. Plan is to make a one world plantation. That is the dilemma that we all are facing.
Corrupt system, politicians lying. False promises, government spying. Loyalists to all winds conspiring. World slavery soon, no denying. News source suppresses information. Teachers dumb down the education. Secret societies, presidents, nations. Mind control the world plantation.
World out there, man, it may seem strange. The majority of people just don't want to change. They in love with the things of this world and being in it. Like swimming in an in-ground pool and peeing in it. They walk with closed eyes, there's no rearranging. Cause learning the truth can really be life-changing. It disrupts the everyday mundane routine, hidden clearly in plain sight. Know what I mean? Open up your eyes to the true reality. We've been slaves since the day we were born, nowhere to flee. Perception of freedom, cause we're not free. It's a prison of the mind that we cannot see. Legal terms that boggle your mind, so confusing. Words twisted up so that you can't use them. It's a mind control game, and man, they winning. It all started out way back in the beginning.
Corrupt system, politicians lying. False promises, government spying. Loyalists to all winds conspiring. World slavery soon, no denying. News source suppresses information. Teachers dumb down the education. Secret societies, presidents, nations. Mind control the world plantation. Corrupt system, politicians lying. False promises, government spying. Loyalists to all winds conspiring. World slavery soon, no denying. News source suppresses information. Teachers dumb down the education. Secret societies.
Okay, we'll see how this goes. Oh, I got the wrong name up here. I gotta change this. You know, I plan ahead and I don't always get it right. But so this is my friend George. Tell me how to say your last name correctly, George.
George Falcone.
Well, tell us who you are and why you're here for just, you know, brief, where you're from, that kind of, what's your story a little bit?
Okay, well, I am born and raised in New Jersey, Jersey boy through and through. I would tell everybody in all these interviews, I'm just an average guy, and it's average people, average average people in this country that secured our freedom back in the Revolutionary War, and it's average people now that are going to thwart the tyranny that's on our doorstep. So I am part of a movement. Well, I have 4 kids. Let me back up. 4 kids, a wife, 2 dogs, and a business. Like I said, just middle America, average guy out here in Freehold, New Jersey. And I recently got thrust into the spotlight because I was able to serve a notice of intent to file against the bonds of our school board in Freehold Township, New Jersey, the superintendent, and the nurses for the harm that they've been inflicting on our children, imposing these reopening plans, which are tied to lots of money. $5 million my district got to implement the reopening plan, which includes distancing, masking, pushing the vaccine, stupid partitions, all of it. All of it is in. Here's what I realized. I was petitioning my board since the beginning when this all started. I had my kids in school. In June of last year, I was able to. We were able to remove the mask for the last 2 weeks because there was some loophole in Murphy's mandate that happened back then. But something inside me, I was sensing that this wasn't the end of it. And the board kept saying, and the superintendent kept on saying, well, there's no mask mandate as of right now. There's no mask mandate as of right now. And it went on through the summer, but I knew it was coming. And once the mandate was coming, I knew that they were going to put the mask on. My wife and I withdrew our kids. We homeschool now. And because I'm not going to let anybody abuse my children behind locked doors where I can't going on. So I'm an average guy. I saw this movement, Bonds for the Win, and I thought there might be something to it because, like I was saying, I realized something was wrong because all the boards were digging in. All of them were digging in on this. We're going to keep the mask on the kids. They can take the mask off after school, go to Applebee's, eat dinner, go to wherever, Sam's Club. No distancing, no masks, no nothing, right? But at school, where the kids who have no risk at all, hardly of getting sick, let alone dying, they have to be masked up all day. The psychological, emotional, and physical abuse is going to be irreversible if this continues. So I researched Bonds for the Win, got involved, and I was able to successfully serve our board 2 weeks ago. I believe you have the video, and we can break it down. But just an average guy from New Jersey standing up for our rights. Been following politics for 30 years. It took me 30 years to realize both parties are in on the game. I was one of those Bush Republican guys. Go Bush, yeah,
I was too.
And giving money to the RNC and spending money to Bush and Cheney, give charity events, and me and my wife flew to DC to see George Bush at an event. Thousands of dollars to get in. All this stuff, I realized the criminals. And they're the worst of the criminals because they lie about who they are. At least the other side tells us what they want to do. And so it took me 30 years to realize that our Congress is 2 wings of the same dirty bird. And, I guess I turned into average guy, conservative Republican to independent freedom fighter, overnight. So.
Yeah, I have a few things to respond to. One is that, I found out that it made more sense that they were getting funding for this masking because our public schools had so many parents. And my children are not in public school, as you probably heard. They go to a private school that doesn't mask at all. In fact, somebody asked my kids the other night, are you glad you don't have to wear a mask anymore? And I said, my kids have never worn masks. I've never wanted to normalize that. But the public schools did the same thing. Right before school was going to start, they said, okay, no mask. And then the night before school started, they said, we changed our minds. And I thought, how strange with how, and the parents blew up about it. They blew up, and they weren't not going to change even with all the public anger and outcry. And it was massive because we're in Montana. This isn't a left-leaning state remotely. So a lot of people went up against that, and it finally made sense when I realized they were getting funding, which was only recently. Which makes me wonder if my girls' school was approached for funding and refused it. I'd be certainly curious to find out someday. I may ask, but the other thing you were talking about is being a Republican. I was very much a Republican from the age I could vote. I voted Republican down the line. And I was a big Bush supporter. I remember sitting in my college anatomy and physiology class. That's where I was sitting when the 9/11 that's not when it happened, but that's where I was sitting when one of my instructors, who could never get away with this today, said, we should kill them all. She's like, we should just go bomb them all. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Not knowing.
Kill them all that God sort them out. Yeah.
Right. That's pretty much what she said. She's like, I'm a war eagle. And I'm like, yeah, me too. So sadly, I really fell into that trap. But then for 10 years, I didn't vote at all, and I didn't get involved because I didn't like Obama, but I didn't realize just how evil he was. And when I started coming back into politics and the truth movement, when I started understanding like the truth in Jesus Christ first, and the truth of money, gold and silver, and then crypto, as you guys know, that's when I started learning about Trump and Q. And I got really involved in the Q movement for a while. I was all for it. I was so excited.
You and I followed the same path, it seems.
I was so excited about it. I believed really this was going to be salvation for our country. But at the same time, I had read the book of Revelation, so part of me felt like there was something not right with it.
Right. That's not what the book says, Yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, I've since then exposed or tried to help expose Q and Trump, and really it's just this, like you said, the same wings of the dirt, two wings of the same dirty bird. And the biggest part about that is everything's happening just as they wanted it to. And I thought Trump really ushered that in. He ushered that in with his jab, and it's creating a society of the Great Reset that Klaus Schwab wants. It's going to usher us into that much more quickly because you can't go to work, and people believe that they're getting their freedoms back, but I can see that it'll get pulled out from under us very quickly. But I do have your video. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I watched Trump did everything perfectly, right, for 3 years, right up until COVID. Got the unwavering support of his base. He said, I can shoot someone in the street and I still love me. They'll still love me. And so get up to COVID. We're never going to be a socialist country, yada, yada. Meanwhile, signed two of the biggest spending bills in history of the world, supported the lockdown, supported the masking, supporting the shutdowns of business. Basically, he oversaw this complete takeover of our rights and ushered us into communism, and then went off into the sunset pretending like he's going to come back and save us. It's probably more evil than anything I've ever seen, unless, one of two things. There's going to be an awakening, or we're headed towards the tribulation. I don't know. You listen to both sides. Both sides have rational arguments. You say, yeah, you believe that. And then the other side says something. Yeah, that sounds right. Right? We're in this great deception. I believe COVID could be the first seal. This deception sent by God that brings people to a place where they cry out for, there's such suffering that they cry out for a leader. The first seal that never goes away. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay.
Sorry, I was muted. The cycle of freedom. First, start with bondage. Let's say we're in bondage, and then there becomes a spiritual faith, an awakening, like you said. And then that spiritual faith brings on courage, which makes people want to stand up for themselves, which we're kind of seeing, because there's some definite bondage going on, whether people realize that they are in bondage. They are, and I know you know that. Then there's the fight for liberty, and they get their liberty. They have a level of freedom now, but then that level of freedom brings an abundance, and then a selfishness and a complacency and an apathy, and that leads to a dependence on the system because they stop caring about whether they are self-sufficient. They stop caring about whether they want things. Just give me. And so when the government gives, then they start becoming dependent, and then we're back into bondage. And this is a cycle that continues over and over and over. And I hope we're heading into awakening. And you may be right about the first seal, and you may be right about heading into tribulation or end times. What I will remind people is every generation thinks their time is the end times. That doesn't mean we're wrong, but I would warn people that don't do this. Don't get complacent in this time if you think it's end times, because that leads back to bondage, and you're not in your courage and spiritual faith and liberty. And freedom comes with knowing who Jesus Christ is in our salvation, and we're supposed to continue in our work for Him, no matter what. We need to have our oil filled, and we need to be working. So we're still supposed to go to work. We're not supposed to quit our jobs. Real quick, I went to church on Sunday, and the pastor said, I'm going back to a church I used to go to, and I'm quite pleased so far. I think the pastor is very good at, stepping on toes, but he talked about that people on Y2K, some of the things they did. So there were people that took out tons of loans thinking they were never going to have to owe them because the computers are going to reset. There were people building bunkers, people doing all sorts of things because they thought that was the end, spending time with their family, saying, I need to be home with my family, and what Y2K is going to destroy everything. Now, I know this is a little bit different, but people are just as scared, if not more so, in a slower way, and maybe it wasn't as fast. But anyway, what do you think about all that?
Yeah, what you described there in that cycle, the Israelites went through that cycle several times in the book of Judges. You see that cycle occurring where they're suffering, they're repressed, they cry out to God, they go back to Him and His Word, and He blesses them, restores them, they get comfortable, they're blessed, they have everything they need, they get complacent, they turn from God, and then He has to go back through the cycle again. You described the book of Judges.
Yeah, so, let's show your video, because that's what's going to be interesting to most people. I got to go back and find it. Here we go. And the sound should work fine. Hang on. Just moving things around.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. And in the beginning, it's hard to hear. So people are just going to have to know that it's hard to hear in the beginning. I'm not going to be able to do much about that. All right, so I'm going to play it.
There's no pass mandate. This is public property. We have a right not to rent it. Unless you want to violate our rights, we'll put it up.
So actually, give us a quick, don't give me the whole story. Tell me real quick what you're doing right now in this video.
So we went to the board meeting. My kids haven't been in school. I went with the specific purpose of serving them with an intent to file. This is a legal document. I'm intending to file against your surety bonds or risk management claim policies. And I went there with my packets in hand, ready to go. I was approached by the vice president of the board saying, put your masks on. I had support. I had about 15 people with me. Put your masks on, or we're not starting a meeting. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. We're in a public place on public property. There's no mask, and sorry, not putting it on. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. I'm calling the cops then. He cuffs out. Right? Okay, we're sitting there. 5 minutes later, the first cop shows up and stands over me with his intimidation move with a flashlight. You need to put your mask on. They want you to leave. I'm like, and that's when I start to educate him on the law and what he's doing.
All right, so let's play that.
That's also not true. It doesn't matter. It's a constitutionally protected activity to record on public property. It's a First Amendment constitutionally protected activity. You cannot say you can't record. You can't do that. You cannot trespass somebody on public property without committing a crime. If we're not committing a crime, we cannot be trespassed. So our our rights because these people, these tyrants say so, right? So we're here legally. We're not breaking any laws, and unless you want to violate our rights, we'll put the mask on under threat of arrest only.
I'm not threatening you for
Right.
So, like you said, under threat of arrest only, will I put the mask on?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't serve them from a jail cell, so I didn't really intention on, putting the mask on if they were going to threaten to arrest me or remove me physically using violence and kidnapping me. So I had every intention. I had the mask in my hand. My boy next to me, my son Boaz is his legal name. He had his mask on. We were ready to put the mask on just so I can take care of business and then get out of there. But circumstances played out that I was able to kill two birds with one stone, deal with this, recording and mask issue, because they also have a policy you can't record, which I didn't on having that battle that day, but the opportunity presented itself. So
I like that you say that, because this is always an opportunity to educate if we can. And I think
Right.
that we should, if we can, and what I'm learning is I need to do it more with a smile. I mean, because I get very attitudey. I get very like, don't mess with me type, and it puts everybody on edge. So,
Sean knows.
okay, I'll keep playing that.
I'll go to arrest. You're gonna arrest me.
We're not putting the mask on. It's not law. You are law enforcement.
Are you on the school property?
It's public property. This is
It is,
our
but it's
this is
school
our
property.
property. It's public. It's school property, but it's public.
By the way, that just irritated me when I watched this. This guy's, how many officers do that? This is school property.
It's so. They repeat the same thing over and over again, like they're going to change our minds or something,
All right, I'll keep playing.
And they're going over this.
No, you're wrong about
So
that.
you want
pay
to
for
tell
the
me you can
school.
go into the high school and you will say, it's a public property and I can do whatever I want in the high school?
No, I'm saying we can't break a law. If we don't break a law, you can't trespass us. This is not the school. This is not.
If the school
This is not
principal
school
asks you
session.
to leave, you have to leave.
We're not students.
We're not in school. We're on a
not
public
students.
meeting.
I
On public
understand,
property.
I understand.
Right? So this is public property. We're not breaking any laws. So this is part of the problem. These tyrants get you to be their brown shirt, and they want you to threaten us to follow their stupid policies.
I'm not threatening.
This is not illegal. Right? So unless you want to arrest us, we'll put it on. But otherwise, we're not breaking any laws. We're here to attend a public meeting, and they don't get to use you as a brown shirt and throw us out.
I don't want to throw anybody out.
Great. So can you leave us alone and let us get on with the meeting?
Oh, they're not going to start with the meeting.
Well, we're not breaking the law. This is public property. If they don't want to do their job, that's on them. I'm going to serve them before I leave, but either way.
Okay, but now you're dealing with all these people who's complying.
I would just serve them now. They're here. Serve them now and get it over.
How do I do that?
Walk up and serve them. All right? Walk up, let them know what's going on, and serve them.
They don't want to do the meeting.
that's my. You want to pause for a second? Yeah. So that's the point where again, this wasn't planned. I intended on following the procedures of the meeting and waiting my turn and then doing what I had to do. But my friend Frank behind me, he recognized what was going on and that I might lose that opportunity based on the way things were going. So he said, "Look, George, they're here. Just go serve them." And I'm like, "All right, let's do it." And
Yeah, you probably nearly did, because we'll watch and see what they do after you serve them. Real quick, what are you serving them again?
a notice of intent. I intend to file a claim to your insurance companies for the harm. I'm filing a claim for the harm you are doing to the community and the laws you broke, 40 of them. We list 40 laws that they break: child abuse, practicing medicine without a license, bribery, the ESSER funds, serious crimes that they're committed, that they're accused of, and also the harm inflicted on the children and in the community, and a violation of their oaths, right, of office and their oath. So that's it's a legal document. I gave them 5 days to respond. I'm giving you a notice and I'm going to file a claim. They'll lose their insurance. They'll never serve and hold public office again because they'll be uninsurable. I found 3 policies worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So, but the claim if you just go back to normal and stop this bullcrap and all of you resign because you don't get to stay. They're all, there's no, because you don't keep your power after abusing children and taking bribes from the millions for a year and a half and just say, oh, okay, we'll stop and, business as usual. Get the hell out of here. You're gone,
And I play it again. Here we go.
Jennifer. Hi. You have been served. Alina. You have been served. I see the sign.
They think it's funny.
I was wondering, were people that were supporting you laughing, or were people that weren't supporting you laughing?
No, I even chuckled there because I think that was more of a nervous laugh by everybody. It's happening, and whatever conversations went on behind the scenes, because they knew it was coming and something was coming, social media, so they looked at the woman I was about to serve. She must have had something to say about me or the process that made them laugh when I approached her. So, so they're laughing. And the one guy, the vice president, you'll see him actually rip up the legal document and throw it at me when I walk back to the podium. Now, these are people that demand respect. Right? When you're in the room, you will follow their orders. You will respect them and the process, and you will acquiesce and do whatever they say. But as soon as I come shine a light, it takes them 3.5 seconds to just disrespect everybody in that room and walk out on the positions. Well, you'll see.
Kind of like police who think that they have special rights. All right, I'll play some more here.
It's not. These are our children. These are our children you're talking about, okay? So stop laughing about our children.
Please put your camera down. You're not allowed to.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
It's a public meeting.
Don't put your finger in it, sir. Don't put your finger in it.
I need you to put your phone down or please leave.
We're not doing
Hey, Frank. How are you? So nice to see you.
Always conflicts.
Don't you remove her. Don't violate her rights.
Remove her.
Michelle Lambert, you have been served.
What a jerk.
He also is no conservative. He's a liberal nutcase. He's right there. He just ripped it up and he threw it. I'm a roaster.
You're gonna arrest me? I'll put it on. I'm not gonna arrest. Well, then let me talk. I don't want to put it on. You don't have one on. No, I got it.
I can't believe that guy is standing there telling you to put on a mask and he doesn't even have one on. It's just absolutely insanity.
It's absolutely, and that's the part people just get stuck on. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you're standing there without a mask. I have no words.
These guys have special rights.
Rules for thee and not for me.
Wait, Frank, get out of the way, please.
Doesn't matter what you're doing. That's your excuse.
Do they want you? It doesn't matter what they want. This is public property. It doesn't matter what they want. We're not breaking any laws. You don't get to violate our rights because they want you to.
If we were in a
Come on, man,
restaurant,
use
you'd
your-
have
use
no
your
mask
brain.
on. But we're not. But it's anywhere you're sitting. I'm sorry.
I, first Falcone,
Boils
a
your
living
blood,
man,
right?
do hereby come before you in peace, with sound mind and body. I would like to present you a list of all current, well-established, written universal,
Cowards. Cowards, cowards, cowards.
violated, ignored, and enforced unlawfully by all you upon your children and offspring. Be it known, there are well-established laws put in place for protections, in which you have blatantly ignored and violated and enforced clear violations of more than 40 laws. 40 laws they have broken. This is completely unacceptable. You have openly violated your oaths by practicing discriminatively, enforcing and violating actual laws without any authority, without providing any fully informed scientific information or facts or through reasons why. Without reasoning or noticing for any signature consent from any custodial guardians or bloodline parents. Without any lawful authority or parent powers to do so. Without any laws written, passed, or established by legislation or due process for mask wearing, isolation, segregation, or quarantine, and prompting vaccine clinics for unapproved FDA product while still in emergency use only. Without any medical license held by each of you or your employees, both salaried, hourly, or temporarily. Without any due process of law, certainly without any regards for our children's safety or well-being. So here you go.
Thank you, George.
Here you go. They took $5 million. $5 million to abuse your children. They took it knowingly that they were going to abuse your children. It didn't matter how many pairs of shoes you left on the front lawn. It didn't matter how much evidence you gave them that they were hurting children. They did it for money. They're criminal child abusers, and they took bribes to hurt your children. And they did it for profit. This is being exposed. And this is what happened, right? They run. Cowards, run.
Cowards!
Meeting adjourned.
So we're getting some buffering. I'm just gonna drop the Twitch link. Whoops. Real quick, I'm gonna drop the Twitch link and the DLive link. Wow, DLive looks like it didn't even start. Anyway, hold on just a second.
Yeah.
And then I'll drop the Facebook link as well. It looks also like it's buffering. But anyway, okay, so all that to say, people can watch later even if it's buffering. What I would say is, first of all, impressive that you went up against these people, and impressive that you had all of that information put together. You said you had help with that at some point?
Yeah, I should have said that in the beginning. Michelle DeVito of the Constitutional Law Group. She's the admin for New Jersey, Bonds for the Win. And we kind of teamed up early on. I was able to Oprah request all the information I needed. God saw to it that this guy was throwing it at me. I mean, I couldn't get the information fast enough before he realized what was going on, why I was asking. I was the first one in the state to get everything I needed, right? The insurance, that's okay. The insurance information, the bond information, the contracts, their oaths of office, their this intent and to file a claim, I got through Oprah requests in a matter of 2 days. And that weekend, Michelle worked round the clock while dealing with her mother, who was in the hospital, who was trying to murder her mother. She was trying to navigate all that. She put it all together in a form, and I printed out those forms 5 minutes before somebody was coming to pick me up to take me to the meeting. I didn't want to drive because I thought I would get pulled. So I had somebody pick me up. I printed out the last pages, got my coat on, me and my son ran out the door, and we went to the meeting. Excuse me.
So yeah, I'm again very commendable that you are doing this, because I don't have my children in public school. I haven't even tried to do anything to help with the public school system. I think about what you're doing, and I'm like, I could just not do any of this stuff, and I haven't. I'm thinking, well, why would I? Because my kids aren't in public school, but yet at the same time, I get frustrated because I want to go to the public school and tell all those people to pull their kids out. And I've been trying to say that. I got kicked off of Facebook groups for trying to say some of the things I've tried to say against these schools. And another thing I was going to say, you talk about how they're allowed to go do anything else outside of school. there's a principal at the Catholic school where my kids used to go. We're not Catholic, but it was a private school, and I thought it was better than public. Well, she implemented the face mask thing. She was part of it, and I found out she was part of it from somebody else who works there. But then I would see her every Thursday at this brewery, a beer place, or a brewery. And the place was crowded, and she wasn't wearing a mask. And I almost walked up to her and I said, "How do you feel coming out here and not wearing a mask while making kids masks all day while you sit here and drink beers in a crowded bar?" Pretty unbelievable.
My kids are homeschooled too. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't want to deal with it, but I just got called. God called me, no doubt. Yeah, called me to do this, and he's paving the way, and he did it all. I mean, I'm not smart enough to pull this off. That passion you saw in there, I mean, I have passion, but I mean, that was a different level, considering the circumstances. And, it was Yah inspired, and so I'm just following his lead. And this, if there's going to be an awakening, we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to fix it overnight, but it has to be dismantled from the ground floor, the municipal school board level up. Murphy can go tomorrow, but they'll just replace him with another cabal head, right? It's not really Biden. Everybody's focused on Biden. He's irrelevant. If it wasn't him, they'd have somebody else there. It's not. These people are controlled. They have handlers. You know that. So we start from the ground level, county by county, school district by school district. We unseat these. I almost cursed. Sorry. we unseat these criminals. We replace them with people who care about children, the community, and real education. And if I file that claim, all funding can cease to that district, and that they go bankrupt. And I won't shed a tear. I say we just start over from the beginning.
And there's other things we could be doing. And one of the things that Sean and I talk about is the tyranny of what police are doing. Police are also going up against people for different things. Now here, not so much. Here I really don't, people haven't had to wear masks since January. I never did. I was never bothered. Certainly nobody called police on me. But if there's a situation, you're in New Jersey, right? So your situation is vastly different. You're facing that tyranny left and right.
Tonight, we're going with an army. I have another meeting tonight. I'm serving them with a lawsuit. I am suing them all personally. And I have an attorney that got all the paperwork together. They're going to be served before them, but I'm going to do it for optics at the meeting. I'm serving them with a lawsuit of violating my civil rights. I'm suing all of them personally. I'm going in with an army of people with no masks and their phones out recording. And the police are going to be there. There's going to be some sort of standoff. I don't know what. And I plan on having each child. But I've encouraged other people to bring their envelope. Every child is going to walk up and serve them, and in unison in front of the live stream say you've been served, and they're going to walk off, and then I'll finish. We're going to try to unseat a member on the spot too, because another thing that people don't realize, to be in the office, you have to have a notarized, witnessed oath of office signed. If your oath of office is not signed correctly, you're serving as an imposter. You can be arrested for it. One member we found who never signed his oath, and I'm going to try to get him to resign on the spot under threat of arrest. So all this is going to be taking place on their live stream, which they cut off last time, by the way, thinking that they can control the narrative, walk out of the room. They left. That's why they don't want you recording. So, and I said, that's why you record. Right? They can't lie. My video has been seen millions of times. Everybody knows the truth. So, you have to record. You have to.
Where millions of times? Where has it been? Where is it on Facebook that is being?
It's shared on platforms all over the place. I've been on Patriot Street Fighter, Matt Clark. You made it political. I'm going on Megyn Kelly, but they're setting that up. So it's taken. Cool. It's gone viral. So it's a big deal as far as people waking up to what's going on.
And one thing we say is always be recording, especially if there's police involvement or any kind of tyranny. This is a school district thing, but always be recording. If you get pulled over for any reason, be recording. Always be recording. I mean, you don't have to put it up in their face or anything like that, but definitely always have at least maybe one other person if they're with you recording as well. But if you are recording and you're alone, that's great. So you'll be recording this, I presume.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, I'll have
your
an update
friends and family.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah, we have a bunch of parents going. You talking about the meeting tonight?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It's a regularly scheduled meeting, so I don't know. I can't imagine what they have planned. I mean, social media around here has been going crazy. I've done a couple interviews on morning radio shows, local shows, and so it's a real whirlwind and a storm here going on, and they know we're coming. I'm gonna have media there too, so I don't know if the cops are gonna insist on standing their ground, because another thing I didn't mention, I left without incident, but 5 days later, the cop that was standing over me, he sent me a summons in the mail for criminal trespassing. Days later, after he was on video saying, "No, I'm not going to arrest you. Anything wrong." And now he sends me, they're trying to, intimidate me. So that's part of my lawsuit that they're going to be served this morning. So I'm probably right about now, they're probably getting served by processors with the intent to file a lawsuit. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be fun to see though.
One of the things I also...
It'll be live streamed. You can go education on YouTube. You can subscribe to and cut it off when they leave. Now, if they leave, I've been told we can elect a new board on the spot.
Oh,
so
okay. You're cutting out a little bit, but what I was going to say is maybe you send that to me where it's going to be live via email, because you cut out so much I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah.
We're having some major lagging problems and technical difficulties.
Mm.
Dang.
All right. I don't know what to do here.
Oh, okay. Well, I can hear you now. Sometimes you're frozen, but I can hear you.
Okay. Just
All
right. So, yikes.
Yeah, it's a mess. What I will say, if you go in there tonight and they do arrest you, I tell people that this is a fight worth fighting. That's one of the possible consequences, is being arrested. And some of these guys that go out do auditing and things like that have been arrested multiple times. Definitely, I'm not telling you, I'm sure you know, but know that you can sue these officers personally. You can, I either know the law as well as you can. I mean, hiring a lawyer is not necessarily a bad idea. There's some guys that have lawyers that are good at helping them to sue these guys, but be careful with lawyers and legalese. Sometimes it's better just doing it yourself and getting that knowledge, and it's not too hard to learn that stuff. I mean, look at you're getting a lot done with knowledge of just just going and what they're doing, knowing the law and knowing that they're breaking it and knowing that they're not fulfilling their oath and all of that. And so you're able to present that, and they may try to arrest you, and then you can sue them personally.
Well, I'm already suing them personally, like I said, for
right.
That whole, you can't coerce under color of law. So that's one thing they're doing. Coercion under color of law is illegal. I'm suing them personally and served for sending me that summons in the mail, because nobody else got a summons.
Right.
I had 15 people behind me with no mask. As only I did. So they're going to pay, and it's going to be amplified by the media. And now everybody's going to be on that live stream tonight who's not there. I got people following it. So Bonds for the Win, the higher ups will be following it. Rick Martin, who's Bonds for the Win. Rick Martin, from the head of the Constitutional Law Group, he'll be on the live feed. I'll have my attorney.
Got a YouTube channel?
Yeah. No, what? Bonds for the Win? No, it's a it's a website, www.bondsforthewin.com. Okay.
I'm typing it out for everybody on the YouTube, but then I will put that on the screen. Bonds for the Win. It's a website that somebody will be recording live, right?
Well, yeah, no. Bonds for the Win is a website that if anybody wants to do that, any citizen can.
Oh, okay,
like
okay,
I said,
okay.
my kids. Any citizen can make a claim. Because this is we don't involve attorneys, we don't involve courts, we don't want to.
Good.
It's a citizen-based grassroots movement, organic, and anybody can do this. And preferably 10 parents will do it in the town. All file claims. So you follow the steps on Bonds for the Win. They lay it all out. You get your Telegram groups organized by state and county, and you have an administrator there to guide you, help you get the Oprah requests, all the information you need, how to put it down into legal form and serve them. And so far, I'm the only one that had been able to serve properly. We have excited parents serving them letters of intent with no insurance information, is firing a gun without a bullet. So, I appreciate their tenacity, but you have to have your ducks in a row if this is going to work. So.
Right. Yeah. Make sure. And that's the other thing is also, even if you mess up, it's a learning experience for you. So like when I got pulled over for having no insurance, well, I got pulled over for running my bus into landscaping stuff. And then I left that place that I hit the stuff because I was going to their other location because I had a flat tire and they were going to fix my tire. Well, they had me pull into the wrong place. I had trouble getting my bus out. I ran into their landscaping and I was embarrassed, but I didn't destroy anything and I left. Well, the cops were called. They called the cops knowing I was going to their other location. They called police and said I fled the scene of a crime.
Oh.
So anyway, I wasn't really prepared to have the conversation of traveling versus driving yet. But what I did is I got, and of course this officer, they were detectives. They sent out detectives. They were so bored to talk to me. And so they said, well, we're going to do you a favor. You did flee the scene of a crime. And I'm like, who's the victim, right? I mean, the rock that I hit, the tree.
Your militia took out their flowers, yeah.
So, anyway, but I wasn't ready to have that argument because I didn't have the knowledge yet. But what I did do is he's like, oh, I'm going to just give you no insurance ticket. Oh, thanks, officer. You're so sweet and kind. But I did tell him, he goes, you fled the scene of a crime. I'm like, I said, you knew where I was going or you wouldn't be here. And he goes, well, that's true. So how do you call that fleeing the scene of a crime when they know where I'm going? They're there when I get there. Anyway, all that to say, I got a no insurance ticket. When I took it to court, I was ready. I was ready with all that stuff. I sat down and I learned it because I was very motivated now. I finally had a situation where I needed to bring that knowledge to the table. And ultimately, they dismissed the whole case. I didn't ever have to pay the ticket. I didn't even have to present my case in front of the judge a second time. I did the first time. And I didn't know it was just the arraignment where I was supposed to say guilty or not guilty. So I was spewing out all this knowledge on on the Supreme Court law of traveling versus driving. And so I guess by the time I showed up for the actual court hearing, they just didn't want to. They weren't going to deal with it, so they dismissed it entirely.
So here's the thing about police and law: the municipal police forces were never intended to be law enforcement. Right? The original intent were to be peacekeepers. The law enforcement are sheriffs. The sheriffs are law enforcement. And the final say in every county in the country, even over feds, the media, movies, TV have socially conditioned and brainwashed America into thinking when the feds show up, they flash their badge, the local guys stand down, and they're in charge. Bullcrap. true. Sheriffs can arrest the feds if they cross a line in their county. They need to be educated. The ones that are not bought off by Soros, we have that paper trail. They're in the back pockets of Soros across the country, California here in my state and others, New York, the real liberal states, the populated ones. They bought off the sheriffs, right? They've installed them just like they install politicians because sheriffs are elected. So, the ones that aren't bought off, that just don't understand, we need to educate. On the constitutionallawgroup.com, they have all that information about how to educate your sheriff. You have pamphlets, books, things. You sit down, get to know your sheriff, meet with the deputies, meet with him. We don't want to alienate them right away and go after their bonds, because if they don't protect your rights, they're also bonded. We can go after their bonds, right? So we found a way to hold people accountable, the elected officials accountable. We finally found the key, and it's growing like wildfire, and people just got to step up and do it. Take action. Men, where are you? Get up, stand in the gap for God, Christ, your family, your rights, your children's future. Get up, stand in the gap, be men. We're not supposed to be milquetoast, we're supposed to be meek, and we're not supposed to, we're supposed to turn the other cheek. No. If we don't fight now, your children are slaves to a state who will abuse and enslave them or kill them. That's where we're at.
It's just like that Cycle of Freedom picture, and I'll put it up again because I want to remind people. Let me pull it up here. I want to remind people that this is the cycle that we are currently in. If we don't fight for our freedoms, and am I saying like go out and start a fight with police officers that aren't doing anything to you? No, I'm not saying that. Am I saying, just get angry and start talking about all cops are bad, which is true?
There's some good ones. I got family and friends, Aaron, and there's some good ones who get it. And, it's all about money. They don't want to lose their pensions now, and they're getting the jab. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Jab, you can say jab.
Okay, all right. I don't want to get you in trouble. We're in a tough spot in America. Money is love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. A lot of people are serving the master of money, and really that's the problem,
Well, I'm going to tell you what, those friends of yours, how good and nice are they going to be if they pull you over and you don't comply with something they say?
My friends?
Yeah, if you said, like, you were saying there were friends that were police officers?
Yeah, no, I do. And I have family and friends that serve. I grew up with several who are sheriffs. One's a captain in the town the police chief in the town I grew up in, Madawan. And, I believe they're good guys. I don't have any reason to believe otherwise. I don't have video of all their traffic stops. But, listen, many departments, they just don't know their oaths. They're not taught their oaths. They don't know where their authority starts, where it ends, and they just think they put that uniform on and so they feel like they have to resolve in the favor of every complaint, every issue, and you don't have to respond to every call. There's somebody recording. There's somebody not wearing a mask. They always say, well, I have to respond to a call. No. The dispatcher, are they breaking any laws? Are they being unruly? They're just recording. Well, they can do that. So I can't send anybody. Sorry.
Yeah, it's too bad how many police officers will show up for that, or they'll be the ones that just see it happening, somebody recording, and they'll do something about it. But I guess what I was saying, and you don't have to answer, but rhetorically speaking, there are people that say, well, I have good friends and family that are police officers, and they're nice and they're good people. And I say, well, if that officer pulled you over and you didn't comply, I think the conversation might start to go something like this. Oh, come on, George, we're old friends. What are you doing? Not complying with what I'm telling you to do. And then if you continued in knowing in your heart that what they're asking you to do is not right, and you continue to not comply, I think you would find that those people, now I don't know your friends, and that might not happen in your situation, but I think a lot of people will find the people that they think are their friends are going to change real quickly when you don't comply with their orders, because they are trained to escalate.
I can see that. I mean, but my friends would never even ask me to comply with something like that. So, they know I know my stuff anyway.
That's possibly true. They possibly know what you know. They wouldn't mess with you.
Right. Cops count on you not being educated. They count on you not knowing your rights. They count on you just jump when they say jump. So a lot of them know, and they just don't know that you know. Once you assert yourself, they kind of they back down. At least the smart ones.
No, that's a good
point. The ones
point.
that are full of pride, the ones that are full of pride, very arrogant. No, they'll push it.
That's a good point what you're saying, because that's true. I told my daughters this too. I said I don't want to have encounters with cops. I try not to. I don't speed. I don't do anything crazy. I mean, I do little things once in a while just to kind of push it. I don't drive with a driver's license. So I prepare my kids. I say, we're going to have conversations with police officers. It's going to happen. I said, but eventually this town is small enough. They're going to see me and they're going to tell the new guy, don't, just leave her alone or just, be nice or just keep moving or whatever, because you're right. There's going to get to a point where these people know what you know and they're not even going to want to bother with it. Or they might call their superior and their superior is going to say, just let her go. She's been to court enough to know she's not going to pay those tickets.
They see Amagansett Press roll up or James Freeman and you know who they are. They're not going to mess with them. You know what I mean? So,
especially James Freeman. I think Amagansett Press are pretty mild. They're pretty mild compared to what James Freeman gets up to sometimes. Yeah. Everybody has their different style. I mean, I learned those techniques that you saw me implement in the meeting. I learned that from guys like that. I learned those techniques. So that's where I started for me too. I also follow. So James Freeman is a good one. Amagansett Press. I also follow. I think it's a James Madison one. There's a lot out there. I think that Brian from High Impact Flicks, he has a new channel called Here's the Deal. I think he's doing a good job of covering stuff. And then there's a new guy that I've been watching called Delete Laws with the Z. Have you watched him before? He's a constitutional professor or something. He teaches constitutional law.
I may have seen him. I subscribe. I got away from watching those videos because I lost time due to everything that's going here and with this. So for the last 6 months, I've been focused on other things. Down the rabbit holes and learning from people like you regarding things of the truth of history and Yah and the lost books and all the deception we're living in. I mean, my mind has been blown for 2 years. I've been craving this information, and I didn't know what. Yeah, more and more, I couldn't get enough of how we've been lied to, the truth about Yah, and the lies of the mainstream Christianity, the traditions of men, teachings. I've just been consumed by it, and it's all kind of coming together now that I see how Yah has me on a path, to having a different purpose, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And so for people who are still learning, those are good channels to check out and learn from. But also, you're going to need to sit down and just kind of learn some of this stuff yourself. People like Black's Law Dictionary. I have Bouvier's dictionaries myself. I don't find myself flipping through them a lot because I haven't had interactions where it's kind of been required yet. But that's when you're really going to learn. When you start pushing back on the system, when you start having to learn how to say the right things. I got pulled over twice before I started figuring out what I'm supposed to say to police. And so now the next time I get pulled over, I'll be ready and I'm going to smile. Okay. But I have to remember that there's a consequence of possible arrest. Probably not in this town. They're really not that bad. I don't think they're too ego driven here like they can be in other towns, but that is a possibility. And then I also have to weigh the consequences if I have my kids with me. If I have my kids with me and there's a threat of arrest, I'll probably begin to comply because you know what they'll do with my kids if they arrest me.
Yeah, we got to be smart. We got to use our brains and use God's wisdom. Flies with honey, right? And it's like, be respectful, be a good witness for Christ, but those rights are God given, they're Christ given, and we are humanity, we're so precious to God. Our DNA, our human DNA is royalty, right? And they try to trample on that royalty and make us less human. And just, they look at us like cattle, these people, these controllers, these cabal, whatever you want to call them. They'll squash us like a bug and not even think twice about it. They resent our humanity. They resent our relationship with God, and that we're created in his image. So we just got to pray, stay strong in the faith, and contend for the faith and finish the race. And he's coming back soon.
And now that I can hear you better, would you say one more time where we can watch live this meeting tonight?
Freehold, F like Frank, REEHOLD, Freehold Township Board of Education.
What time is that meeting?
7:30.
7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And where in New Jersey are you again? This Freehold, is that the name
Freehold.
of the town? Okay. Where is that? North or south?
EE, H like Harry, O, L like Larry, D like David.
Is that in the north part of New Jersey, middle, south?
Actually, smack in the center. Freehold is we're the capital of Monmouth County. So we're basically right in the middle of the state.
Okay.
I can access any beat.
All right, well, I typed that in all the chats. I'm typing it in lastly in Facebook so that it'll be everywhere. And then since there's been some buffering, I'm sure when this uploads and people can watch it without the buffering and there won't be any issues there. But I want to thank you for your time. Is there anything you wanted to say that I didn't get to yet, or anything that we hadn't covered that you wanted to talk about?
No, man, I'm just inspired to and importantly, just wake people up to the truth of what's going on, why it's happening, and inspire others to stand up and just take action. We're not going to fix this from our couch. I mean, men need to stand up in particular. I am engaged with an army of women here and maybe 2 men, but the men need to stand for our families and our rights. So my goal is to inspire people to listen. We've negotiated ourselves to the edge of a cliff. There's nowhere else to go. If America falls, where do you go?
Well, I'm thinking South America myself.
Maybe.
Well, again, thank you for the work you do. We're going to stay in touch because, by the way, George is also a smart guy because he's a crypto holder as well. So those of you that are still wondering about crypto, he's in the know. I'm in the know. You can come to us for help with that too, but also know your rights and protect yourself. And one thing I'll say specifically about this is that crypto is one of the ways you can protect yourself. So is gold and silver. And I'm not going to ever tell you it's not gold and silver, but really when banks collapse, economies fall, people get hurt, and we are left to suffer because they're never going to bail us out, ever. They're never going to bail us out, so we have to protect ourselves. And one of those ways is crypto. Another is gold and silver. Another is real estate if it's working for you and making money for you. So anyway, with that being said, Go ahead.
So hit Erin up. She's very smart. She knows what she's doing. Get some crypto. Thank you, Erin. I'll talk to you soon. I'll be a guest anytime you need me, okay?
I appreciate it. And I'll probably, I'll let you go real quick, but what I wanted to say real quick before you go is I'll probably want to talk to you right after this meeting tonight and see how it goes, and make sure you're not in jail. You let me know how it goes, okay?
Yeah. I'll do that, okay? I'll text you.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Today is your last day, ninja.
Maybe not.
It's the red masked ninjas, wars we throw slicing, scream bloody murder, red moon rising, attack of the killer bees, swarm devastating, fear running wild from the songs that I'm making, no feedback from the cats that be hating, taking souls down to hell, half son of Satan, bringer of the true light, legend of the seeker, last true warrior, ancient soul keeper, one and only ultimate brain decapitator, kill in the moment, ask questions later, no remorse for the MCs that I'm slaying, the fake rappers are the ones who are paying, millions come out here to see my recital, on the edge of your seat, words very vital, dictator, tyrant, man of many titles, bow down and worship, you one and only idol like that.
Assassinator, the flying Russian, words flow flawlessly over percussion, no fake MCs allowed in this cipher, only #1 big scene by Mel Kiper, you can scream loud but it don't mean you're hyper, shots be on point like the DC sniper, you better wake up, smell coffee, clear your head, 5 more minutes and you might be dead, many fake MCs, they cling silver tongue, black mask enters and now they neck wrong, invincible warrior, what I become, garbage out your mouth, smell just like cow dung, unconscious rappers, they need to be hung, ninja fist, brush your lips, now your mouth numb, rulers of the world got us feeding on crumbs, modern day slavery, bottom fish scum.
First thing we do, we plan a false flag attack, sit back and watch how the blind sheep react, they scream for help, we say we got your back, make up corrupt laws, the Patriot Act. First thing we do, we plan a false flag attack, sit back and watch how the blind sheep react, they scream for help, we say we got your back, make up corrupt laws, the Patriot Act.
It's the brown mask ninja, psychotic killer, underground dweller, fear instiller, mass media, soul cleansing devil, true law breaker, government rebel, mad mass maniacs breaking in your door when the president signs off for Rex 84. Turmoil, chaos, I don't want no more. Beast on the 7 hills, Babylon whore. Time we wake up, even up the score. Pick around the corners with guns ready for war. Sleepwalking people, the rich and the poor, too oblivious to realize what we fight for. You wanna run down and get baked at the shore. Men plot behind your back, evil at the core. Attack of Illuminati wild like a boar. Words sting like salt that's in the mouth sore. Yo, only speak real truth, there's no way to fake this. Living in a world similar to the Matrix. Chains on your mind, come on, you gotta break this. Way that you're thinking, it's time for awakeness. One way out, man, so we gotta take it. Fight till the end, cause we all gotta make it. The truth is the truth, some of y'all might hate it, or don't wanna hear it, be blind and debate it.
Hear no, see no, speak no evil, live dangerously like evil Knievel. Deaf, dumb and blind, man, you're nothing but sheeple. Being led by your nose through the upheaval. Gears keep turning like pop goes the weasel. Media spread the lies just like the measles. All gassed up like an 18-wheel diesel. New world order plans written on an easel. First thing we do, we plan a false flag attack. Sit back and watch how the blind sheep react. They scream for help, we say we got your back. Make up corrupt laws, the Patriot Act. First thing we do, we plan a false flag attack. Sit back and watch how the blind sheep react. They scream for help, we say we got your back. Make up corrupt laws, the Patriot Act.